Well, he's at it again. There's a lot of meat to pack into this burrito today, so I'm gonna stack it in the roll in the form of 3 different layers. Anyways, let's shove our puños suaves in gently as always. Johnny's had himself an exclusive interview, and he's very happy about it. I don't really see much that I personally think the Korean courts could or would be interested in incorporating any of these clips into his sentencing. Now, it's Johnny Somali. He did say some things for shock value, but he kept himself in line for the most part. It seems that Johnny is trying to start a bootleg podcast or some shit to distract himself from his court dates and his possible 36-year sentence. Here he is talking to a woman, Yasmin Zora Boba. I think that's how you say her name, I'm not sure. We'll just call her Yasmin Zora, or Yasmin for short. She is a Muslim woman of great controversy. There's recent videos pertaining to the interview that concern her. Well, as Johnny would say, throwing Romans. And she herself called it a Power Ranger salute, but we all know what that is. I think what really makes it sickening, beyond just doing this like normally, to me it's the fact that she touched her heart as if to denote affection before doing something so twisted and weird. That somehow makes it even worse. She is also a supporter of the Free Palestine movement, which that in itself is a very controversial matter. But this particular video isn't about politics or anything. We're here to emasculate a nuisance streamer. Nothing else. It's 1 hour long. It's RKI original content, so I won't link it in the description. I watched the whole thing and I only did it to get perspective so I can roast him again. I was mostly quite bored, so I don't think you're missing out on anything anyways. There's probably less than 15 minutes worth of substance in this entire 1 hour interview. It primarily talked about Yasmin. Boredom aside, they talk about some pretty disgusting stuff at times, putting it as kid-friendly as possible for monetization purposes. A certain rabbi priest performing, shall we say, less than, medically ethical circumcisions, and giving a rather unsightly disease to infants with his mouth. That's about as best as I can phrase it, but it gives you perspective on just what kind of degeneracy these two were talking about at certain points. I don't know if there's any credibility to anything she says. She sounds like a conspiracy theorist, and she also sounds high as fuck. For anyone wondering, I don't know of her beyond this interview, never heard of her before. But speaking on first impressions, she was poorly spoken and lost her train of thought frequently, slurred her words a lot, and just came off as deeply uneducated and perhaps a little disturbed at times.
All claims or allegations mentioned here are unverified and should not be considered factual without further investigation. I do not condone anti-Semitism, hatred, or racism of any.
So there's a lie. We all know Johnny is racist against South Koreans. And here you can see him trying to relate to her.
People, but this is a free speech platform. This is an uncensored platform. And I want to give Yasmin the ability to share her story with the audience, because I feel like me and her have been canceled in similar ways.
Their situations are not similar, let's be clear. Both of these people are lobotomites. But Johnny is in a far worse situation than her. At best, she's just getting a bunch of internet hate and probably looks rather suspicious in the eyes of the FBI. But as far as I know, at least, she's not on trial for anything. And here, Johnny tried to be clever by farming donations mid-interview, because, you know, people like to give him hate money where they send some rather hilarious messages. They'd probably be a little more unfriendly under normal circumstances. But this is RKI, so we don't really have any empathy for him now, do we? In fact, here, have a listen.
It'd be like a 12-part documentary or series, because but I could give you the lowdown, like the basic information.
Yeah, give me that.
Get a vasectomy.
Well, my name is Yasmin Zohra Roku. I'm Amazigh. I don't like to say Moroccan because that's what our colonizers named us, and we used to be part of the whole North Africa and more.
I found this to be one of Johnny's more interesting takes. He's glazing Diddy.
In the world is almost like a different planet with different customs.
What do you think about Diddy? What do you think about Diddy? P. Diddy.
I think Diddy did it.
You think Diddy did it? I'm on Diddy's side. I want him to walk, but I guess we can agree to disagree.
Well, I mean, that video with Sierra, right, what's her name, Sierra getting pulled down, I mean, he did that.
I know he's doing it for shock value, but I mean, hey, if you like Diddy so much and think he's so innocent, maybe we should run a request by the American and South Korean courts to have him transferred to the country so you can be cellmates. There, everybody's happy.
Dead or whatever it is, I'm not sure the full story.
Because I've been paying attention to the Diddy case, and it looks like I feel like it's fucked up. Because I feel like if you're rich, you should be able to have sex parties. Like, what the fuck? What's the point of getting rich in America if you can't have a sex party with some drugs? Like, you going to jail for that? What's the point of getting rich then?
If I were to humor Johnny by taking him seriously for even a moment, I'd say I don't think anyone really has that much of an issue with a rich guy having a sex party. I think most people, their issues come from the one-sided consent that often accompanies these parties. But this here is by far the most humorous thing I had heard from Johnny all throughout the interview.
I actually been inside the White House. Trump's first term, they actually invited me.
Get a load of this guy.
I got invited to the White House. I've been inside the White House to go see a Trump speech.
Wow.
I've been inside the White House. Trump and his people, they like me,
First off, Johnny is not a Trump supporter. Many of us know as much. Johnny is not really a political figure, not at all, nor does he have anything of substance to offer when discussing national policies. So, about that trip. Johnny, that has got to be one of the worst lies you have ever come up with. Reality can't even support it. That's how bad it is. To put things into perspective, Johnny is saying he went to visit Trump on his first term. The problem here is that Johnny is 24 years old. During Trump's first term, he was a teenager. You mean to tell me that you got to visit the White House when you were, what, 16? I'm not buying the sauce, Ramsey. You're going to stand there and tell me they allowed you to meet the President of the United States, one of the largest countries in the world. No way, Jose. That is definitely, absolutely, indisputably above your pay grade. Alright, now jokes aside, i.e. that whole interview, we got some updates that are liable to affect his case, and they look to be pretty bad. Without further ado, Bong Bong, one of the victims of his deepfakes, has been harassed rather passionately on account of her intentions to testify against him in court. These guys had been talking in the general chat, but eventually made their way around to deleting all of this talk about Bong Bong and the case, and discussed matters in their private chat, which is what has been leaked by one of his top boys. And they were talking mad shit about Bong Bong and Legal Mindset, trying to dox them, defame them, and just looking for some kind of non-existent legal loophole that can save Johnny's stupid ass. They're also trying to find evidence to submit to the court for Johnny's lawyer. But this evidence comes from them trying to shame and defame Bong Bong. They're trying to sexually shame her and make her look like some promiscuous deviant who doesn't deserve justice. And talking about how they're gonna go to Legal Mindset's location or send people to find him and hurt him, or worse, as a means to try and spook him and throw him off his game. Another thing here is that Johnny and his boys actually have a multitude of fake accounts for Legal Mindset. Perhaps other major content creators like Atozy as well, but they definitely have some rip-off Mindset burner accounts at the very least. And they took these accounts into Bong Bong's Discord server to try and trick her, but the moment she told them to prove they are him, they couldn't even do that. It's kind of laughable too. A lot of these incels fancy themselves legal consultants, qualified to guide Johnny through the darkness, if you will. Bring him through the courts as an innocent man. But none of these guys who are giving him legal advice are even Korean. Nor are they lawyers. That just speaks to the narcissism and stupidity of these people. In addition to all this, they've called Bong Bong a vexatious litigant. One of those people who sues everyone over every little thing. Irony here being that she isn't even like that, but Hank, Johnny's lover and #1 supporter, is in fact none other than a vexatious litigant. They're even trying to sue Legal Mindset for defamation, which doesn't even work out for them because he's just reporting main interest news, and nothing he said is unfactual. They're so guilty that they even tried to hide All of this from Legal Mindset while also making a sad attempt to cover up their guilt. But Johnny was stupid. He thought he could log the evidence as some kind of protection, only to have it leaked so it could now be legally weaponized against him. Bong Bong has confirmed it herself that she is not going to stop just because of the harassment they are subjecting her to. So it's rather funny, really. Jumping through so many hoops, putting so much effort in to save their ass, and they're only burying themselves deeper, with absolutely no self-awareness. I gotta tell you people, arrogance is not a virtue. Johnny has been focused on the deepfake charge from Bong Bong. This was a mistake, both in the way he chose to confront it and the way he failed to factor in the second deepfake charge. Remember, they are effectively the same kind of charge. They both carry between 6 months and 7 years. Now, the second deepfake charge is from a streamer by the name of Yoonmong, a Korean streamer, and we have an interview to go over conducted by Legal Mindset. I wasn't planning to talk about Legal Mindset so much in this video. He is incredibly based. I'm getting sick and tired of glazing him, but that's not really a bad problem to have now, is it? The simple fact of the matter is all these updates do concern him more tightly than they usually do. He's not just delivering information to us, he is also a victim of their harassment. But he's not taking it like a champ, he's taking it like fucking Darkseid. You cannot touch this guy. At least, not if you're Johnny and his band of misfits. Funny thing about Yoonmong is he was politically active once, and this resulted in him rather comically throwing a brick in the courthouse window of the same place that is working on Johnny Somali's case. He's faced justice for it in the past. It's a resolved matter. It's just funny that he's now liable to testify against Johnny. Now, reporting the other deepfake, it's very sexual, perhaps even worse than Bong Bong's in some ways. You have Hank and Yoonmong kissing and rubbing each other's bodies in an unnervingly sensual manner. And Johnny isn't worried about this. He thinks that because it's a guy, it's not as bad, and that mindset of, oh, sex crimes against men aren't as bad as they are against women mentality really pisses me off. The gender of your victim will never mitigate the horror or disgust of the crime. Now let's take a look at that interview.
The biggest thing, number one thing, you still have a report, a goso, against Johnny Somali for deepfake, correct?
아직 조니 소말리한테 딥페이크 관련해서 고소건이 지금 진행 중이고 있는 건가요?
네, 며칠 전에도 이제 그 경찰서 가서 2차 조사, 피해 조사하고 왔습니다.
I went to the police station even a few days ago for deeper inspection and investigation.
Okay, so that's ongoing right now, and you just went to the police stations. This is like new news.
새로운 뉴스군요. 최근에 이제 경찰서 갔다 오셨고 이제 이 사건이 지금 진행 중인 거.
그렇죠.
And also, I heard that they tried Johnny and Johnny's attorney tried to settle with you for the deepfake. Is that correct?
딥페이크 관련해서 조니 소말리랑 그 측의 이제 변호사 측이 좀 합의를 요청했다고 하는데 혹시 사실인가요?
네, 이메일로 뭐 조니 소말리 뭐 지인이다, 원하는 조건에 맞춰주겠다 이렇게 이메일이 저한테 왔는데 그게 변호사인지 아니면 뭐 한국 지인인지 모르겠는데 하여튼 저한테 이메일이 왔더라고요. 네.
He's not sure if it's from Johnny Somali's attorney or his just friend in Korea.
Yeah,
He's got an email saying that I know Johnny Somali. If you tell us what you want, what's the deal? We'll try to match your price.
So it could be that he doesn't even have a lawyer. He's just trying to settle it with a friend.
약간 어쩌면 약간 변호사가 있는 것도 아니고 진짜 그냥 친구 불러서 그렇게 했던 걸 수도 있는.
그렇죠. 진짜 친구일 수도 있었던 거고. 아무것도 예상할 수가 없어요.
But here's the most important thing. Are you going to settle with Johnny Somali?
합의할 생각이 있으신가요?
저는 뭐 1,000만 원이든 1억이든 10억이든 소말리에 대해서 합의해줄 생각도 없고 그냥 그대로 처벌을 받기를 원합니다.
No matter how much they call, whether it's $1 million, $1 billion, I have no intention of settling with Somali. I want him to be punished as for what he's done.
제발 빵 가기를 경고하겠습니다.
really wanted to go to jail.
Hear that? Doesn't matter if it's a million, billion, won, USD, does not matter. Not settling, really wants him to go to jail.
And there you have it. You pissed someone off badly enough, like truly wronged them on a personal level, and no amount of money in the world is going to save you from the vitriol that seethes in the hearts of your enemies. I, for one, am really happy to have Yunmong and Bong Bong stepping up to testify. I think these guys are doing the right thing, and there's some irony here. Johnny doesn't want these deep fakes to go through. It's clear between him threatening Bong Bong and trying to settle with Yunmong. And it's also clear that as immoral as his responses were, he knew he did wrong by himself, yet now he's too weak and spineless to accept his punishment like a man. RKI's next trial is still in August, so we'll see if he gets a third or fourth deepfake charge, or maybe even a different kind of charge. That's about all. If you enjoyed this video, or you found it informative, or both, then you should consider giving up your humanity and becoming a mermaid. It's very fun, and you'd be helping me out a lot. But yeah, that's about it. I'll see you later.